Hi guys, welcome to your pick a card reading. When I do my readings, I go by Shemin and I'm here to read for you. So I've got 3 cards here, or 3 piles for a pick a card reading, pile 1, 2, or 3. I also have these 3 cards on the bottom of the deck that were there when I was done shuffling, so these are going to apply a little bit to everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about these for a little bit, then talk about the crystals. If you haven't decided, that may be a contributing factor. So if one of the crystals kind of resonates a little bit more with what you're going through, you can pick depending on the meaning. So for the cards on the bottom of the deck, first one we've got the 8 of Wands. So 8 of Wands is all about very quick, fast-paced energy. Particularly, this can sometimes denote moving. So some of the people who are out there may be considering moving today or in the near future. Or things are just happening very quickly for you. Other card here is the 5 of Pentacles, which is all about kind of like financial hardness, sometimes sickness. It is like things in the physical realm not necessarily working out. So for some people, things aren't necessarily working out because they started moving a little bit too quickly for you and you couldn't quite catch up or get a good grasp on everything that was happening. And it all just feels a little bit chaotic and like a lot right now. So the card on the bottom of the deck is Answer the Call. So what is your soul calling you to do? So for the people who are watching, if your life feels very chaotic, very hectic, you kind of have a couple of things kind of hitting you out of left field, left and right. Out of left field, left and right, Lamau. So specifically, kind of go back to what you feel like your purpose is. So the thing that you kind of may always fantasize about a little bit, where it's like, if I could only ever do one thing, this is the thing that I think would make me happy, or the thing that you know you're ultimately here supposed to do. Go ahead and answer the call, kind of return to that aspect of yourself and your being. And you may see these things kind of start to sort out. It could be your higher self or the universe kind of like putting some obstacles in your path in order to kind of steer you back to the right direction. So, all right, I'll see you in your reading. So for the crystals here, we've got the Pyrite Sun for pile 1. Pyrite is a very solar plexus chakra stone, has a divine masculine aspect to it, good for luck, prosperity, and dealing with your sense of courage. And I think I already said prosperity, but in prosperity. This is a special formation of it. My fiance got this for me. And yeah, this is just a really cool one. Has a fun little play of light around it. I love this little guy. I keep it on my personal altar. For number 2, we've got a true selenite. So most selenite that you see in stores is actually satin spar gypsum. So selenite is still a member of the gypsum family, so it's kind of just like its cousin, but tomato, tomato, they both do the same thing. This is just what real selenite looks like. This particular one has a fun shield formation. It also, I don't know, sounds really nice. I think my mic is over here. Has some kind of nice chimey bits to it, just feels really nice. And selenite, of course, is a very high vibrational stone, resonates with your crown chakra. It's a very activating, helps kind of call you to your higher self, and it's also very cleansing as well. It is one of 2 crystals that doesn't need, or one of 2 crystals that will cleanse and charge all the other crystals around it, and one of a small handful that never need to be cleansed. And then for option number 3 here, we've got a little prophecy stone. So this comes from the desert in, I believe, the Libyan desert, if not from Egypt specifically. But these are really cool. This is a pseudomorph, so it means 1 mineral forms. I believe it's like marcasite and something something, and then limonite will kind of take its place. Metaphysically, a very grounding stone, and also kind of helps you channel a little bit more fully, helps you connect to kind of like these more divine aspects and then kind of ground those divine attributes. Specifically though, it's not just kind of connection to your higher self, it's kind of connection to the cosmic consciousness. So those are the 3 that I've got for you guys. Go ahead and make your selection, or if 1 or 2 of them, or 2 or more of them were calling out to you, go ahead and watch all of those. So without further ado, let's get started with pile number 1. Welcome, welcome, pile number 1. I'm going to go ahead and say all the cards in their positions out loud first. It helps me get a more complete picture of everything and drop into the channeling state, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for the situation as a whole, you have the 8 of Coins with the 2 of Swords. First clarifying card, so the kind of more internal aspect, is the Queen of Wands in reverse with the World card. Slightly more external aspect is the 4 of Coins upright with the 5 of Cups in reverse. And then the cards on the bottom of the deck, which is the ultimate lesson or reason behind why you are going through this, why this is the spread that you were drawn to, and why this situation is happening to you right now. You have the Emperor upright with the Hierophant in reverse. When I first pulled these, I actually thought it was the Emperor upright and in reverse, and I was like, what? But this is still a really fun synchronicity. They're both right next to each other in the major arcana, and they both have very similar attire as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So at the top here, the main reason behind why, or the kind of like thing that your spirit guides want to talk to you about, is the Eight of Coins with the Two of Swords next to it. So Eight of Pentacles is all about this, like putting in this very hard, consistent work into things. So to me, this has a blacksmith energy to it because there is a blacksmith on the card. But you know, when a blacksmith is making a sword or a shield or even a like serving tray, you know, everything that he does, it's like, you know, it is not the last hammer stroke that creates the object that he is making. It is all the hammer strokes in succession with each other. And so kind of the energy of this card is that there is not going to be kind of any one major thing that kind of just like it's not the Wheel of Fortune card. It's not like one thing you do and then suddenly all these amazing things happens. It's like if you want to build something for yourself, if you want to have something kind of happen for you, it's going to take this kind of more mundane kind of like work where it's like you see little bits of results or kind of little improvements every time you put your effort into it, but it's not going to be something that happens just straight off the bat for you. As awesome and amazing as that would be, you know, all things that are worth doing are worth putting in the time and effort for it. Clarifying card for this is the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is all about blind decisions. So the little crescent moon in the top here is actually the crescent moon in the High Priestess card, which is like, I love it. They're both two cards. That's one of my first little like secret things that I found in the deck. So specifically with this, the Two of Swords is all about having to make decisions without really knowing the outcome of how either of these choices are going to turn out. There's that little bit of intuition kind of behind you to try and like guide you to making the proper decision, but ultimately this isn't something that you can have all of the facts for. So specifically for whatever it is that you're working on, you're not supposed to know how it's going to turn out, because if you were to know how it was going to turn out, it may be so amazing that it would scare you, and then you would kind of psych yourself out from finishing or accomplishing this thing. It could also be that your path is going to take a turn in a different direction, but it's very important for you to do this thing that you are currently doing in order to get to the next step that you need to be for getting to that life path, you know, answering the call. Card that was on the bottom of the deck, you know, whatever your soul is calling you to do. So how this relates to you internally, you've got the Queen of Wands in reverse with the World card. For the Queen of Wands in reverse here, in the book that Arthur Edward Waite, one of the creators of the Smith-Waite deck, actually put out, this isn't necessarily a negative card. The Queen of Wands in reverse is still a like charitable, hospitable, good economic kind of energy card here, especially paired with the World. That kind of makes sense. So even though I think you may be kind of like losing a little bit of your passion for this thing because it is kind of taking a little bit more work than you maybe thought it was going to take, you know, that passion is still there. And specifically here with the World card is the very last of the major arcana cards. So I do think that you are wrapping up a cycle as it relates to this particular thing, whether that be your life, your business, hobbies, whatever it is that you feel like this reading is about for you, because so many different people are watching this reading. It is going to be about something a little bit different for everyone, but whatever it is that you feel like you have been putting a lot of work in towards, and something that is very important to you, that you feel like is your soul calling, that you are kind of making your way towards, whatever it is, you're kind of leveling up a little bit in this regard. The World card is all about everything that kind of happened in the Fool's journey prior to this, kind of like coming to totality and kind of wrapping up loose ends. The World card is also a card of celebration in order to set you up for success for the next Fool's journey that you are going to take. There is never an ending. It is just, you know, an opportunity for a new beginning here. That's kind of what it means with the kind of like tied up ends on the wreath here. So don't lose hope, even if you're feeling a little bit less passionate about this thing. You know, this is a thing that is going to come through for you for sure. For the next card that we had over here, so this is kind of the external side of it, we've got the Four of Coins with the Five of Cups in reverse. So this, to me, makes a lot of sense, especially with the Five of Coins that came up on the bottom of the deck for everybody. So I feel like for some of you who are watching this, you may be going through some kind of like financial hardships right now, or you may have had a couple of like little hits to your finances. And so because of that, you're kind of learning to be a little bit better with it. The Four of Coins is all about kind of like holding on to the things that are in the physical realm. When it's in reverse, this can signify greed, but this is a positive aspect. It is upright. So I do think that for some of the people watching this, you know, learning to be a little bit better with your money is going to be a very good thing for you. Also, with the clarifying card here being the Five of Cups, I feel like you've definitely been choosing to focus on the negative. So these kind of hits, these, you know, the stuff spilling out of the cup rather than what you still have. You may have a good amount in savings, or you still have some money in your bank account. Or, you know, if this is a different physical thing, it's like, you know, you may still have your house, you may still have some clothes, all of those things. But by focusing on the negatives, that's kind of almost pushing this card to be a like greed, kind of holding on a little bit too tightly energy, rather than just being a little bit responsible. So just be a little bit mindful of that. Cards on the bottom here, so the ultimate lesson or reason behind why you are going through this is the Emperor with the Hierophant in reverse. So again, very interesting. These two are wearing very similar clothings in these two different decks. So main one here is the Emperor. So the Emperor is all about self-discipline. So I feel like this in conjunction with the Eight of Coins is definitely one of the main things that it wants to get at. So by having the self-discipline of allowing yourself to do all of those different hammer strokes to make this wonderful, beautiful, amazing thing, I think that is going to be very rewarding for you, especially because you know how much work it took to make this thing happen. And it wasn't just, oh man, I did this one thing and then all of a sudden I became successful, hooray. It's like, no, you had to work for this, you had to earn it. And so it's going to feel a lot more special to you when that does happen because of that. Other clarifying card for this is the Hierophant in reverse. So it's like, until you learn this self-discipline energy, it's not going to move forward into this Hierophant. So it's not going to go from the 4 to the 5. So 5 is all about change. Specifically, the Hierophant card is all about kind of like receiving these divine bits of insight or wisdom, these keys to unlock future doors in your path. So until you kind of learn to have this self-discipline, you're not going to be given your kind of next step to do. And so the Oracle card in the middle is Star Mother. So how can you mother yourself? So this card is the Virgin Mary, so the mother of Christ or Christ consciousness. And so specifically for this, what are the things that you can do for yourself in order to kind of help nurture and provide for this kind of like metaphorical baby version of yourself that you are trying to have grow with this whole aspect? So it's like there's some part of you that you are trying to nurture and grow and have develop, and maybe have that be this main aspect of you that you show to the world, but it's not quite there yet. You know, this is still a thing that you are working on. And so if you had a very divine, loving mother, or if you had to mother yourself, what are the things that you would do to a child version of you in order to encourage progress or growth in this particular thing that you are trying to grow? Whatever those things are, you know, you can get a little bit fun or cheesy with it. So it's like, you know, when we were kids, we would kind of just like, I don't know, do these things that maybe took a little bit more effort just for the fun of it. It's okay to set up one of those things for yourself. So if you like struggle with painting or something, you know, you can invite some of your friends over and you can all have a little painting party or whatever it is that you want to do. Just like make it fun and exciting for you, so that way these kind of like more mundane hammer strokes don't really feel quite as mundane for you. So that is what I have for you guys. Pile number 1. I'm going to move on to pile number 2. Welcome, pile number 2. I'm going to go ahead and say all the cards in their positions out loud first. It helps me get a more complete picture of everything and drop into the channeling headspace, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So main card here, so we've got the 3 of Swords clarified by the 7 of Coins in reverse. Internal aspect of this is the Ace of Cups in reverse with the Ace of Swords. Very interesting, 2 aces. External aspects, we've got the Hermit with the Knight of Pentacles upright, and then for the lesson or ultimate reason behind why this is the spread being shown to you today rather than any of the other numerous cards or spreads in the deck, and that is the Strength in reverse and the Hanged Man upright. So this is the ultimate reason behind why this whole situation is happening for you, as well as why this is the advice your spirit guides want to give you as well. Oracle card is Awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. So exciting thing to look forward to. I'm going to do this one last. So for the first card here, so the main reason or thing that this reading wants to talk about is the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords is not a super fun card to get. It is all about heartbreak. So you can see with the swords stabbed to the heart, there are clouds raining. It's a very gloomy, sad card. So particularly for some of the people who are watching this, I feel like you may have experienced a heartbreak lately. This doesn't necessarily have to be like a romantic heartbreak. This can be kind of any aspect. Specifically with it being in the Suit of Swords, this is kind of a thing that very mentally wasn't fun to go through. So it can be a breakup, can be loss of a job, can be, and that would make sense with the Five of Pentacles showing up on the bottom of the deck as well. But yeah, whatever it is, whatever kind of loss or thing that you are experiencing right now, whatever is causing this pain to be a thing that you are feeling currently, we're going to get into kind of the more esoteric aspects of this. Clarifying card for it is the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So the Seven of Pentacles is, when it's upright, it's all about kind of putting in the hard work and effort and energy into seeing things grow and prosper. It's not quite time to harvest it yet. It's still at the stage of kind of like green tomatoes or like unripe pumpkins, which aren't going to do anybody any good. With it being in reverse here and with the Three of Swords being here, I kind of feel like whatever the heartbreak is that just happened, it was kind of a situation that either you or another party kind of weren't willing to put the work into in order to make it prosper. And you know, if something isn't worth working for, it is not worth having. And so if somebody, let's say this was a relationship thing and you tried your best, you gave this person so many chances and they just still refused to kind of treat you with the bare minimum, you know, that's not a person worth having. You know, if they were going to be a good partner for you, they would have been more than willing to put in the work. And so, you know, thankfully they have created this space, or you have created this space, so you can find somebody who is going to be willing to put in that work for you. For other people, you know, job may not have been working out, may not have been super motivated for things, may not have been putting in the effort, whatever it may be. I think those two examples kind of give you guys the picture here. So for the internal aspect here, there is the Ace of Cups in reverse with the Ace of Swords. So very interesting that you have one ace reverse, one ace upright. So specifically, I think this situation is going to bring about a new beginning for you. However, it's not going to be an emotional beginning. So if this was a romantic breakup, I don't think getting into a new relationship right away would be the best way to go. That's just good advice in general. Always give yourself time to heal. General rule of thumb is it takes half as long as a relationship lasted in order to fully get over it. So if it was a 2-year relationship, it'll take a year, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, you get it. But with the one being the Ace of Swords that is upright, Ace of Swords is all about a mental new beginning. This is kind of like, so all of the aces are kind of given by the hand of God. So this is source or spirit kind of offering up this new beginning for you. So Ace of Swords is all about kind of like a new mental beginning. So this is kind of like just having one thought or something that makes you reconsider how you've been viewing the world around you. Something that happens that kind of makes you just be a little bit more on top of your mental health. New idea, inspiration, any of those types of things. So I feel like by having gone through whatever this particular heartbreak was, it's kind of like, in a way, if it hasn't already, it will kind of, once you are past the grieving stage, it will inspire you to kind of do something new for yourself, and it will be a much better kind of like, you'll have a better and healthier mentality around this particular thing due to the growth and progress that you make while getting to this point. I'm going to pull one clarifier card to see exactly what this new beginning is. So I'm going to use a deck I haven't opened yet. So it's got all the cards in it. Ooh. So those two jumped out. So it's going to be those two. So specifically with it being the Four of Swords and the Six of Pentacles, Four of Swords in reverse is saying that this isn't going to be a thing that you have to wait for necessarily. I think this is a thing that's going to happen kind of when it needs to. And so for the Six of Pentacles is all about the people above giving to the people below. Whatever position you may be in, we all have different positions in different roles, if that makes sense. So it's like, to somebody you could be a benefactor, to other people, you know, you are receiving from them. Whatever this is, I feel like specifically whatever this new idea is, you're going to be given it by somebody around you. This may not even be a person that you know. It could be you're just watching a movie or listening to a song and someone just says something that resonates so deeply with you that it kind of fundamentally changes the way that you think about things. So we've got that for over here. So next card over here, and I feel like this will happen during the grieving process specifically is what I heard. So other cards that we have, so this is kind of the more external aspect. So this is you as it relates to the internal aspect of you. This is you as it relates to the you that you put out into the world. This one is the Hermit card, which yay, I love. I have the Hermit card on my little jar of honey here. One of my favorite cards in the deck. And then you've got the Knight of Pentacles. So it's very interesting that both of these figures are kind of carrying a star. This one is the star from the star card. This one is a star in the form of the pentacles. So with this being kind of the external aspect, I feel like for you, definitely taking time to yourself right now is going to be very beneficial for you, especially if you kind of went through something that is maybe a little bit embarrassing, you know, whatever this ending may be that happened or this heartbreak was. It's okay to take some time for yourself and kind of like move through this kind of with your own company, especially sometimes we don't have stellar support systems around us. So if you feel like the people around you aren't necessarily going to say the right words, or they may end up making you feel bad about it, or victim blame, or any of those kind of not so fun things, it's okay to kind of like retreat and be a little bit scholastic with it. I don't know if that's a word, but you know, seek your own solace. So with the clarifying card here being the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles is all about moving forward. So all of the Knights are very quick, very fast-paced cards. Specifically with it being the Knight of Pentacles, I think whatever this is going to help propel you forward. So it's like the Seven of Pentacles in reverse that wasn't happening up here with whatever this situation is. I feel like by kind of taking some time to return inwards, you may find something that motivates you a little bit more to actually put in this work and effort for things, or just allows you to move forward in general. And so with both of these, having that star here, again, the star in the Hermit Lantern is the Star card, which is my absolute favorite card in the deck. I love it. And so it's like the star is specifically kind of following your soul purpose, which kind of calls back to the Oracle card that came up for everybody. So answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? Whatever that is, kind of make that be your guiding light, and anything that is not in alignment with that, you know, externally in the world around you, make sure you have a good group around you that is ultimately supporting this thing that you really want to do. Further card at the bottom here, so the lesson or reason behind why you're going through this situation, you've got the Strength card in reverse with the Hanged Man upright. So main one here is the Strength card. So Strength card is all about kind of being like met with obstacles, not so much for the sake of the universe just being like, haha, I'm throwing obstacles in your path, your higher self just wanting to get some laughs out of you. It is an obstacle that is there specifically with the sole intention of like allowing you to level up, so to speak. So personally, I watched a lot of anime when I was younger. It's kind of like, you know, this is the energy of like one of those fights where it's like the protagonist, he like meets this big bad guy, he loses to him in the first fight, and he's like, "Pa, come back when you're stronger." And then the hero does it. He goes, he levels up, he trains, he gets some new ability or whatever, and then he comes back and he beats the guy. This is kind of the energy of that Strength card. It's like being met with something that you can't necessarily do right away, so that way you can build the skills to overcome it. With this card being in reverse, it's saying that this situation that just exited your life, that is no longer a part of this, you know, whatever it is that just passed was not one of these things for you to kind of like try to grow and kind of make happen, if that makes sense. Its passing was a thing that I think ultimately supposed to happen for you because there is something better on the horizons for you, and that will be something that I think is a little bit more worth putting in the effort for. Other card here is the Hanged Man. Hanged Man is all about trying to see things from a new perspective. So I think maybe this reading may have helped to shed light on maybe this bad thing that happened wasn't necessarily that bad because it wasn't, you know, people weren't putting in the work for it. And so by being able to like see things from a different perspective, that kind of allows this insight, which is this little halo around the Hanged Man's head, that allows inspiration for us moving forward. Specifically, this is Odin hanging from the World Tree in the Norse myth. By hanging himself from the World Tree for several days, however long he did it for, he got the insight into the rune system, which people still use to this day for divination. So whatever it is, there will be a big inspiration that happens when you can shift your perspective on things. So last card in the middle is Awakening. So energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. So I definitely think that this heartbreak that you are going through right now is going to be a kind of initiatory experience for you. So by having gone through this and by receiving the kind of renewed mental state or kind of new way of thinking about things that you will, this shift in perspective, if you will, I think this will kind of be a lot healthier and better for you moving forward. That allows you to align a little bit closer to your life purpose. Oh my god, there's a little moon in here. Sorry, the moon is like that crescent moon is the moon in the High Priestess. I love seeing that. So yeah, you know, not all bad things that happen are bad. Sometimes they just kind of have to be there in order to put us on a better direction. So I'm sorry for what you were going through, but I hope things work out better for you in the end. So thank you, pile 2. I loved reading for you today. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe if this did resonate with you, or tell me a little bit about what you've been going through, and I'll see you in the next one. Welcome, welcome, pile number 3. I'm going to go ahead and say all the cards in their position out loud first. It helps me get a more complete picture of everything, and then I'm going to dive into it. So for the situation as a whole, you have the Hierophant in reverse with the Strength card in reverse. So 2 major arcanas, very interesting, and you have 2 major arcanas down here at the bottom as well. 3 out of the 4 are in reverse, or I guess 5 because you have the Empress, but we'll get into that later. So for the internal aspect of this situation, you've got the Knight of Swords clarified by the 3 of Wands. For the external aspect, you have the Knight of Swords clarified by the Empress. So very interesting, you've got 2 3s here. For the lesson or reason behind why this is the spread being shown to you today, why this is the situation that you're going through, rather than all the like other thousands upon thousands of spreads the tarot can bring about, is the Star in reverse with the Death card upright. So really interesting. So if you look here, this woman down here on the Death card with this kind of like floral thing on her head is actually the Strength card up here. The same woman, same gown, same hairstyle, same flowers in her hair. So that's really interesting, and I'm going to come back to that when I get down here to the bottom card. So for the situation as a whole being the Hierophant in reverse, so kind of the thing that I talked about with the cards on the bottom of the deck was this kind of like chaotic energy happening around us that may be affecting some things in our physical realm, so kind of like financial loss, sickness, illness, those types of things specifically. And then all of this was kind of leading to our soul's purpose or path. The aspect of that the cards kind of want to bring to your attention today is the Hierophant in reverse. So the Hierophant, when it's upright, is all about kind of like receiving this divine insight or wisdom in order to kind of like give us these keys, you know, these things that unlock the future doors in our path, from kind of like a divine source or inspiration. With this card being in reverse, I think kind of one of the things that your spirit guides want to tell you is that if things haven't been working out, and if you haven't, or if you've been trying things and then there's kind of like all these like backlash or hardships that are happening in turn, this isn't a strength moment. This isn't something that you're supposed to like meet and overcome in order to become stronger and better for yourself. These things are happening because you haven't received this Hierophant information yet. There's some key piece of information that the universe is working on, trying to send you, or it has been trying to send you, but you haven't quite necessarily been listening to or been able to receive yet. And so because of that, that's why these things haven't necessarily been working out for you. And again, these are 2 major arcana cards, so this is a very important aspect or thing. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull a card to kind of get what the area of that Hierophant energy should be, or what is that key piece of information. Going to use a new deck so it's got all the cards in it. Ooh, alrighty, those are the 2. And so clarifying cards for this is the Ace of Swords with the 3 of Pentacles. Ace of Swords is all about a renewed or new mindset about something. So it could be that this key piece of information that they're trying to give you is something about changing your perspective or kind of changing the way you think about something in particular. 3 of Pentacles is all about working with other people. So this may be a thing that you've tried to do alone, but the universe is trying to tell you that you need to work with other people in order to accomplish. So those are the 2 clarifying cards for it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And I'm going to go on to the next parts. So next one, we've got the internal aspect of this reading. So this is how you relate to this internal side of you. And we've got the Knight of Swords with the 3 of Wands. So Knight of Swords, I think you may be very passionate about this thing. And so you may have been kind of like rushing into things a little bit quickly. If something is meant for you, it will always be meant for you. Like, yes, there is a kind of certain timing to certain things, but you know, what is meant for you will always be there for you. So it's okay to take things a little bit slower and kind of like pause, relax, think about the way you actually want to do things, or if this is really how you want to be progressing before you take those next steps forward. People who are watching this may be a little impulsive. But you know, everyone's got their thing, so don't stress too much about it, just be a little bit more mindful of it. Clarifying card for this is the Three of Wands, which is kind of all about that. Three of Wands is all about planning. So this person is kind of up here on a cliff. It's a little harder to see in this particular card, but then he's got this ocean. You can see some little ships here beneath him. So he's kind of like surveying his options, surveying the path laid out before him, kind of seeing exactly which way it is that he wants to go, what path he wants to take before he goes down and embarks on this thing. For you, kind of planning things out a little bit more structurally, I think would be very beneficial for you. And who knows, maybe during that time of taking things out and planning them, you would receive this divine inspiration or guidance that the Hierophant card is all about. External sides over here, we've got the King of Swords in reverse, and then the Three of Arcana, the Empress card. So for the first one here, this is how you relate to the world around you, this kind of more external side of you. So with it being the King of Swords in reverse, King of Swords, when it is upright, is all about pure mastery of the mental state. With it being in reverse, it's kind of saying that it's like how you present yourself to the people around you. You don't have to present yourself as an expert or a master in one aspect or another. You know, it's okay to be a beginner in a lot of things and kind of admit the things that you don't know. And I think a lot of people would actually respect you more if you were to say the things that you didn't know, because that kind of shows awareness, if that makes sense. It shows that you recognize the things that you don't know and you're kind of like willing to put in the work to learn about these things, rather than just kind of pretending that you do have all the answers and that, you know, you are the expert, when it's kind of clear to some people who are a little bit more advanced than you that you're not. Other card here is the Empress. So the Empress card is all about nurturing. So this is, I'm very glad that the Empress is kind of in the beginning stages of the major arcana, like where she is at. So it's like while the Fool is kind of starting this journey, so he's gotten that little piece of inspiration. The Magician has kind of helped him plan out exactly where he wants to go. He's gotten that insight from the Divine Priestess, the High Priestess. The Empress is all about this idea of like taking that and like allowing it the space to grow. So a lot of times I think we, especially like for people who are a little bit more left-brained or kind of like structure oriented, once they kind of make a plan for something, they don't really allow room for inspiration, for things to kind of grow and progress past what they initially thought these things were going to be for them. And so especially with this kind of showing up here, because you don't know everything, you don't necessarily know the exact perfect way to do things, even though it is saying to do a little bit of planning towards whatever it is that you want to do. Because you don't know everything, allow for room for improvement when the situation does arise. So if somebody gives you a really good idea, Three of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, if someone from an external source gives you some advice, if it's good, go ahead and take it. You know, use your discernment, obviously, but the people around you who love you ultimately want to help you. And so they could be giving you some good advice that would be beneficial in the long run. Card on the bottom of the deck, so this is the lesson or reason behind why this is being shown to you today and not any of the other thousands upon thousands of spreads. And it's the Star in reverse with the Death card upright. So Star in reverse, so with the star still being present in the reading, it's saying that this is whatever it is that you're doing or going through or experiencing is a major part of your soul path. However, it's not being fully realized or kind of like actualized quite yet. And I think that has to do with these kind of reversals up here in the beginning. So because you don't have this Hierophant energy yet, of course you haven't gone through 5, you can't get all the way up here to the 17th card. So with it not being the Star card, it's actually this death energy that you're going through right now, which isn't as bad as it sounds. I know a lot of people get scared when this card comes up. But specifically the Death card is all about a kind of like ego death. So it's like, you know, sometimes we go through situations or things in our life that fundamentally change us as people. This doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Sometimes this can be a good thing. You know, sometimes we'll see a movie, like a really impactful movie that just like fundamentally changes how we experience life because it just hit. Some message that it had just resonated so deeply with us that we now integrate that into a large aspect of us. For other things, it can be something that is a little bit more difficult, where it's like, you know, divorce changes people. Sometimes we have to go through that change and then we kind of like finally learn to love ourselves a little bit more fully, or, you know, whatever it is that it may be, whatever difficult situation that kind of forces you to strengthen up a little bit. you know, I think that's kind of what you're going through right now, is that by going through this, by maybe allowing a little bit of wiggle room, you know, allowing a little bit of insight from other people and having to recognize that you don't know absolutely everything quite yet, I think that in itself will be the kind of recognition that causes this kind of death energy that allows for the progress to happen that needs to happen in order to get to this star card and the other very happy, fun, you know, the sun, the moon, the star, all these positive cards in the later aspects of the Fool's Journey. So we've got this here. So the card in the middle, so the Oracle card is Pleiades. So double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. If you are or pay attention to star seeds, you may be from Pleiades. I know some people get a little bit weird about that, so don't take too much credence with it. If that doesn't resonate with you, it's just what the card says, and you can just pay attention to the message. So double mission here is channeling and uplifting humanity. So I feel like specifically for some of the people watching this, whatever situation this is referring to is kind of like, and especially with all the major arcana cards coming up, I feel like this is something very important to you that you feel may be a part of your kind of like great work that the alchemists describe, or something that's genuinely here to kind of help benefit humanity in some way or another, even if it's not something as grandiose as, I don't know, like it doesn't have to be a super occult anything. It could just be you're a really good chef and you just want to write the best cookbook that you can possibly write and put it out there, and it uplifts humanity in the sector that it concerns. So it's like it helps people in the culinary world. Or it could be something else. It could be something that is a little bit more divinely oriented, and so it could be going into the public and kind of actually helping people, like, you know, doing stuff like this, doing tarot, channeling, getting divine messages, or even doing things like going out and helping the community around you. Whatever it is that you're working towards or on doing, just know that it's not one thing in particular. There's kind of two different aspects to this particular mission. One of them is channeling, so that's channeling your higher self, divine guidance, any of those particular things. Very fitting that you guys picked the prophecy stone, which kind of deals with that. And uplifting humanity, so remember that everything you do, it's not necessarily for you. That again goes along with that ego death. It is ultimately for the benefit of everyone else around you. You may receive some of the benefit in the process, but this is ultimately for other people. So that is what I have for you guys. If this resonated, go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.